What's good, guys? We're back with another video, and we're back with another installment of A Day on the Hardwood, my daily post-game recap series. So if y'all like this type of content, y'all like me breaking down the games every single night, go ahead and subscribe, you know what I'm saying? But without further ado, if you like this type of content, like I said, go ahead and sub to the channel, and let's get right into it. Now, the two games that I didn't watch today really was the Sixers versus Wizards because I felt like they're going to blow them out. And it was the first game of the day, and I was kind of still doing stuff. And the Grizzlies and the Jazz because it was too close to the Mavs-Clippers game, the beginning of that, and too close to the end of the Knicks-Hawks game. And the Knicks-Hawks and Mavs-Clippers are the two games I watched in full. So I didn't really watch those two games, but they both closed out their series. Shout out to the Jazz and shout out to the Sixers of closing out the Wizards and Grizzlies. The Wizards and Grizzlies overperformed all year, so it's nothing to be ashamed of. The Wizards looked like one of the worst teams in the league at the beginning of the year. We were screaming free Bradley Beal, and they ended up being a decent team. Shout out to the Grizzlies, the second youngest team in the NBA, the youngest team in the playoffs. John Morant, Dylan Brooks, D'Anthony Melton, Jaren Jackson Jr., Kyle Anderson, Grayson Allen, all those guys just overperforming and doing a decent job, although they couldn't get the win. And I kind of felt like they could have pushed it to 6, but they ended up not being able to do that. And the momentum was kind of gone after they lost that last game at home, because I really felt like they had a chance to win that game. You know, there's a lot of stuff riding the Memphis crowd. You know, the city was pushing them, you know what I'm saying? I feel like they had a chance to win, but the Jazz were just too much. They hit too many threes, and that's really it. Now let's talk about the first game I watched today, and that's the Knicks-Hawks game. Although these games will always be entertaining because it's at MSG, and that arena is just so packed, and it brings so much energy to the game. The Hawks had this the entire game, man. They really did. Julius Randle didn't come to play again, although this was probably his best game, surprisingly, and that's pretty sad. Derrick Rose, he just didn't look right. He looked kind of tired from the last game, and D Rose's body isn't ready for like starters minutes and 35 minutes and stuff like that, and that's what he tried to give him last game, and he just looked too worn out. He looked hurt. He just didn't look right. So shout out to D Rose though for the great season. Reggie Bullock played decent though. Alec Burks and Emmanuel quickly played decent, but it just wasn't enough. Taj Gibson, you know, he's always gonna fight. RJ Barrett had another bad game. They don't have enough offense, bro. That's literally it. They're decent on defense, although the Hawks give them a run for their money on that side as well. They're decent on defense. They just don't have enough on offense. They need more players. A disgruntled Dame, if he loses in the first round, you may be able to get him. I'm not sure. Lonzo, great three-point shooter, although he doesn't bring anything great off the ball, like getting to the basket, shot creation, things like that. There's some other players out there that y'all may be able to get, but shout out to a great season. Y'all overperformed a lot. Nobody was expecting y'all to be here, so shout out to the Knicks, man. Now let's talk about the Hawks. Now, before I talk about Trae Young, I want to talk about DeAndre Hunter and Clint Capella, because they were super underrated in this series and in this game. When Trae Young was kind of struggling Trae Young was struggling a little bit at the beginning. So was Bogey. DeAndre Hunter was using his size on Derrick Rose, getting to the bucket, getting those fades on Derrick Rose, and Clint Capella getting all the offensive rebounds, kind of backing up what he was saying in the post-game conference the other day. He was talking crazy. I was really hoping that Clint Capella came to play, because you can't talk crazy like that and then not come to play. But him and Hunter played great at the beginning of the game, and it really gave them momentum for when Trae and Bogey got going at the end. You know what I'm saying? Trae, the momentum threes, the great passes, the floaters. He started getting into it, but at the beginning of the game, he wasn't hitting that many threes. And DeAndre Hunter and Clint Capella were great for them at the beginning of the game, so I wanted to shout them out. Now Bogey got it going at the end, and so did Trae Young. He had that nice three and bowed down. Bye-bye. That's tough, Knicks fans. He gave out the business. Like, the Knicks fans and the Knicks crowd were hyped, but like Trae Young, he demolished y'all, man. It was bad. Like, it was personal too. It was a personal demolishment. It was pretty tough for y'all. But hey, it's y'all's first experience in the playoffs for a long time. Shout out to the Knicks once again for overperforming. My prediction on the Sixers Hawks series is gonna be tough. They're gonna have even more bodies to throw at Trae Young than the Knicks did. Danny Green, Seth Curry, Ben Simmons, Who else? Matisse Thybulle coming off the bench if Joel Embiid comes back. They got a lot of body to throw at him. So these other players are really going to have to step up, like DeAndre Hunter, like I was talking about. You're going to have to step up Clint Capella, like I was talking about. Bogey, Kevin Huerter, Lou Williams. All those players are going to have to step up because they're going to have every single body to throw at Trae Young. I see Danny Green starting on him. Probably, maybe Ben Simmons, one of the two. See one of them two starting on him. But, hey, if Danny Green starts on him and he starts doing good, they're gonna just lock him up with Simmons. 6'10", long. Trae Young really can't do much with that. So I see Sixers winning 5 or 6. Trae Young may get hot, and they may get hot from 3, 1 or 2 games. But I see the Sixers are just too dominant. But with this Embiid injury, and maybe a little different, maybe 7 with the Embiid injury, but Sixers are still really good, especially if Seth Curry's on his game and Danny Green today is threes, and Tobias Harris can get back on his game like he was in Game 1 and Game 2 of this first series. I feel it'll be a pretty quick series for the Sixers, but hopefully Joel Embiid is back and this is a real series, full 100%, because that's what makes these series more fun and more interesting. Now, let's get to the game that I've been wanting to talk about. Y'all see it? Y'all see the logo? Y'all see it? Look at it. Yeah, man, the Dallas Mavs. After going to 2 games in a row and us losing twice, me may be in a curse. They go away, to the road, and they win their first game once again. I think this is like the first time that the road games, the road team has won all the first 5 games. That's pretty impressive and shows how bad of a home team we are and how great of a away team we are. Maybe less Mavs fans need to go. I don't know. I really don't know what the solution of less support, like you want us to support you less, that may be the answer. Maybe I have to start something about that. But maybe all the Mavs fans should just buy Clippers jerseys, and then they go out and play and Luka drops 50. That may be a good idea. I'm not sure, but let's talk about how this game went, man. When Paul George and Kawhi aren't on their game, it's easier for us to win, and that's what happened today. Although they weren't terrible, and Paul George was really good, the on and off numbers seemed to be pretty good today. When Paul George was on the floor, it seemed like the team was better, but they weren't dominant. Like Kawhi wasn't a robot today. He wasn't getting 40, making every single mid-range shot. He was off a little bit. He's been averaging like 20 points in the first half, and in the first half today, I think he only had 8 or something like that. So we slowed him down a little bit, and also he was just missing shots. Shots to Dorian Finney-Smith for trying as hard as like he always does. Yeah, man, when them two are not dominant, it's a little bit harder for them to win, but sometimes the role players show up, and that's what I was worried about. When Marcus Morris wasn't hitting the threes that he was hitting in that Game 4. Well, no, Game 3. Reggie Jackson was hitting the threes, but they took him out for Terrence Mann for defensive purposes and didn't put him back in until the 3-minute mark in the 4th quarter. So stuff like that, the offense wasn't as great, wasn't as prolific for the Los Angeles Clippers like it was in Game 3 and Game 4, and I'm super duper excited about that. Hopefully that can continue and we win Game 6 and get out of here. But I'm not sure it's going to be that easy, because I think they're going to make the adjustment and not have Trae Mann in that long, because he just isn't an offensive weapon as Reggie Jackson is. And Reggie Jackson in that 3rd quarter, we couldn't stop him, man. It was pretty bad. We couldn't stop him. Nicholas Batum wasn't great, but in the minutes that Marjanovic wasn't playing and Zubac was, he was a problem. And also he dunked on Marjanovic, so he may be a problem for us, like Boban's a problem for them, because although Boban didn't have a dominant game, not making every single shot, every single time Boban gets the ball, we collapse. And it's kind of the same thing for Zubac, not as big of a scale, but kind of the same thing, because Zubac's a big body as well, so we'll have to worry about that. But Trae, man, you were having a good game too, man. I don't know. I just feel like Paul George or Kawhi needs to touch the ball. That's in my opinion. I'm glad you took the shot or passed it to Batum, because that's what I want, because you see the logo. You see it. But as an NBA watcher, PG or Kawhi needs the ball in their hands. And Kawhi can't take that off-balance 3 in the corner to finish the game. Those 2 shots are just not very smart shots, and the Clippers are going to have to learn from that. But let's get to my Mavs, man. Luka Doncic, I think 22 or 19 points in the first quarter. Insane. He came back. I thought he was going to have another slow start with his neck, but I know they had the 4 best masseuses in Dallas, Texas. 4 massages a day, biofreeze, icy hot, all of that on Luka Doncic's neck. anything to get him to feel better, and he looked way better. Although slowing down a little bit in the fourth and third quarter, you need your second players to come up. And when Luka has to carry that hard in the first and second quarter, it's hard for him to keep hitting the same step backs 30 feet, the same fadeaway mid-ranges every single time. So I'm not blaming Luka, because he had to carry us in the first half. It was an insane carry job. Kristaps 5 points in the first half. Tim Hardaway Jr. didn't seem like he can score. Dorian Finney-Smith didn't seem like he can score. Maxey, Boban was probably the only one that was scoring a little bit. You know what I'm saying? The Richardson and Brunson off the bench wasn't much. Like I was saying, Richardson and Brunson weren't much today because Luka was just getting so many minutes. And after Richardson airballed that one shot, Rick Carlisle went over to Luka and said, that boy Luka ran over. Richardson was out of the game, didn't see him again. And I think Richardson needs less minutes, and maybe you give some to Trae Burke. Maybe you keep Luka in longer. Maybe you give Powell a little bit more minutes to go a little bit bigger, but Richardson isn't it. Maybe give Brunson more minutes. I don't know what you do, but Richardson just ain't it right now, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. He hasn't been hit this whole series, to be honest with you, bro. So I don't like him getting more minutes than Brunson. I just don't think it's right. Brunson is a little bit worse of a defender, a great driver, great penetrator. Didn't do much of that today because he didn't have the opportunity, but I've seen what he can do, and he was probably a top 10 6 man this year, to be honest with you. So Brunson needs more minutes, even though you're gonna give Luka all those. Give Brunson for some off-ball stuff, because I think he works great with Luka when he's in the game and Luka's in the game. I think it's great how he works with Luka. Now, KP, I want to talk about KP. We won this game, and I wasn't even thinking about Kristaps. Like, I wasn't thinking, oh yeah, Kristaps needs to do something. At this point, Kristaps is just an added topping. I'm not expecting anything for Kristaps Porzingis. Nothing. I'm not expecting anything. If you hit that corner three, cool. Anything extra, cool. But I'm not expecting anything from that man. I promise you, not one thing. Not expecting anything. So shout out for him to 8 in that corner three. I think he had like 11 or 8 points. Cool. Still not good enough from $160 million, whatever we got. But hey, he hits some threes sometimes. So. And he hit the biggest one of the game probably. So shout out to Kristaps for that. But like I said, I'm not expecting anything from him. Like Lucas said in the post game conference, man, Dorian Finney-Smith was big today, man. Not hitting a lot of threes, but the defense on Kawhi and PG, his ability to slow down both of them is really, really valuable to this team. Now I need to talk about this, man. I really do. I really, really do, because it's mind-boggling, and it's mind-boggling to probably anybody that's watched the team for more than 1 or 2 years, why Dwight Powell hasn't been in the rotation late in the regular season and in the playoffs. And today he was back in the rotation and was great. Big offensive rebounds, big defensive rebounds, great defense, rolling, getting putbacks. That's what he does. I don't know why Rick Carlisle took him out, but I'm glad he realized it before it was too late that he needed to be in. And Willie Cauley-Stein does not need another minute in this series. I'm perfectly fine with him not getting another minute. Give Kleber a little bit more minutes. Give Powell a little bit more minutes. Take all Stein's minutes, bro. He's not smart. He's not smart. He's a decent lob threat. He's not great on defense. Basically, all he is a decent lob threat, in my opinion. Give Powell, give Kleber more minutes. I like the addition of Marjanovic in the starting lineup. Don't play him too much, but being big at the beginning of the game with them going so small is a very good addition. Shout out to Rick Carlisle for all the adjustments that he made. He may have made them a little bit too late, but I think he still has a little bit more time. He didn't make them too late, but like he's still a little bit late, you know what I'm saying? But shout out to him to making the adjustments, probably listening to some of his assistant coaches, probably taking some advice and some talk in and making the adjustments that he needed to make, and we get a big win in LA. Hopefully we're gonna bring it home to Dallas on Friday and finish up the series, man. I really hope so, and go on to play the Utah Jazz. We're gonna be a very hard matchup if we do. I'm not trying to get ahead of myself, but if we can win one game in Dallas, Texas, hopefully we could do that and win and go on, man. But yeah, man, that's all I got for you guys today, man. If you like this type of content, like and sub on the video if you haven't already. I do these daily, so go ahead and sub if you like this content. And I'll see you guys next time.